I've got a little HTML web page snippet here where we have a text area, and I've put some styles to the text area, styles to the button. This is actually, instead of a break tag, it's an HR, which means horizontal rule, and I've given it a style. That's why all of them have this red coloring. But the point of this isn't really so much the CSS styles in here. The point is to show you how you can make a text area that allows the user to type something in here, like a little journal or whatever. And by clicking the Save button, you can refresh the page, you can leave the page, and then you can launch it in Firefox again at a later time, and your text is not lost. It's still here. And then the clear button gets rid of it. So obviously if you hit the clear button, you haven't saved the data. But if you I'm just going to do some random stuff. If you save it, and I'll go out of here and run it one more time. This is Firefox again. So it's still there, but go on ahead and clear your history. Clear history. Clear now. Okay, now when you X out of the page and run it, you're going to lose everything that you typed in that text area. See? But watch what happens when I do it in Chrome. Launch in Chrome. Same exact web page, just opening it up with a different, you see, I had already saved blah blah blah. This is Chrome. Now let me go to my history and clear it. Clear browsing data. Clear. And clear everything from the beginning of time. Clear. And get out of there. Close out of Chrome and run it in Chrome again. And I believe it'll still be there. Blah blah blah. This is Chrome. So it looks to me like Chrome is actually holding on to the local storage, the HTML5 local storage, better than Firefox. I don't know if this is permanent as in forever, but at least it's permanent as in you can safely clear your browsing history. Okay, so let's show you the styles real quick again. The body, the text area, and ID or pound, save button, font size of 20 pixels. The text area has resize of none, border of 10 pixels, red inset, border radius of 20 pixels, padding of 10 pixels, margin of 10 pixels, and width of 75%. 75% of the window. So as the window gets wider, text area gets wider, gets more narrow, text area gets more narrow. Anytime you use a percent, that's what you're going to get. The HR, which is this horizontal rule right here, which generally is just a thin line, I actually gave it a style too, and more style with the Save button ID, which the Save button ID is used for both buttons. They both have the same ID of Save button, so both of these buttons are getting the style as well. Background color of red, height of 20 pixels, border radius of 20 pixels, border 5 pixels red, outset and margin of 20 pixels. And I had to give that ID for the buttons another style all its own, a height of 40 pixels, because what happens is if I don't give it a height of 40 pixels, let me see what it does. You see, it chops off your text. So you had to make the height of the button big enough that you could still read your text. Okay, and my LI, that's my list item. That's these two dots right here. These are list items. This is one list item, and there's another. I just gave it a margin bottom of 5 pixels so that each one of these little lines of output were not too close to each other. A little white space. That's the end of the style, the end of the head. Here's the body. Here's the text area. The text area is this area where I wrote blah, blah, blah. This is Chrome. It's got an ID of input area, rows of 4, columns of 50. Then I've got a break tag here. If I did not put the break tag here, my save and clear buttons would float to the right-hand side of the text area. I did not want that, so I used the break tag to go down underneath. Here are my buttons. Input type equals button ID equals save button on click equals save my area text. That's a function that we're going to look at in a minute, a JavaScript function. And the value is the text that's on the button, value equals save. Here's our second button, input type button ID equals save button on click equals delete my area text. That's another function that we're going to look at in the script tag in a minute. And the value for that is clear. Here's our script. We've got an if-else statement here. If window.localstorage.getItem area text, which has something to do with, where else is area text? Well, it's also used in function. It's a variable that we're using in these two functions. That's the only place I see that word highlighted. So if area text in double quotes and parentheses is double equals is equal to null, then console.log and in parentheses and single quotes the word empty. Else, okay, so if this is not true, then we are going to do this, document.getElementID, get element by ID, input area in single quotes, dot value equals window.localstorage.getItem, and there's that area text again. Okay, so there's our whole if-else conditional. Here's our function. Function save my area text. And in the curly braces of that, we've got window.localstorage.setItem area text, comma, document.getElement by ID, and then in parentheses and single quotes, input area dot value. So we've got this dot get item up here in our if else statement, and in the save we are using a set item. So now let's go to the delete my area text function. Local storage dot clear. There's our area text value again, and document.getElement by ID, input area in single quotes dot value, and we're going to set it to nothing by just putting two single quotes with nothing inside, and that's going to delete it all. And there's the end of our script tag. This is the HR tag I was telling you about. It gives us more than a break. It gives us a visual separator. And if you don't want it that fat, go back up here to the HR and save button. You can make HR not as fat by giving it its own style after. It's got this style. It's going to share these styles, but if you want to have the code flow down and change something about one of these styles, instead of the border being 5 pixels right outset, or instead of it being a height of 20 pixels, let's make the height for it smaller. Let's make it only 10 pixels, and that way it won't be as thick. See, got a little more narrow. Okay, so that was the HR horizontal rule element. Then I've got a paragraph tag here, and my paragraph just says this will save the text even if you X out of the page and return at a later time. But if you delete your browser history, the text may then be deleted too. It depends on the browser. Here is my UL element, which means unordered list, and the first list item has this dot right here, and it says clearing Firefox browser history deleted the text area text. And I did a copy and a paste, but I didn't change the name. My second list item, I say clearing the Chrome browser history did not delete the text area text. And there's the end of the UL tag, end of the body, end of the HTML, and that makes this the end of this video snippet.